Welcome, everyone. Armchair Chirpers, episode 58, coming to you live on our YouTube channel on a Monday night. And, we keep on bringing these guys up, but they're piping hot. The Small Town Strip Club just had their tour out to BC, nights in Kelowna and Vancouver. They played at the Roxy, and I'm not sure if anyone has had a chance to look at their socials, but man, they blew the roof off the place.
Yeah, full house.
Yeah.
Had the crowd hopping.
Yeah, so big congratulations to a successful tour out to BC for you guys. Man, we got a loaded episode coming up for you guys. Lots have been decided since the last time we were on last Wednesday. And before we get to that, we just wanted to acknowledge our great friends at Reboot Repair, Stratford's best computer support and services, personalized IT solutions, hardware, software repairs, on-site and business services. Cam and Dylan will take great care of you. They have magnificent expertise. They invite you to come see them at their bricks and mortar at 155 Erie Street in Stratford.
All right, well.
The usual suspects on the panel.
Oh, yeah.
Les, Razor, Holly, myself.
God, it was warm this morning, cold this afternoon. What the heck?
Snow tonight, maybe.
I know.
Yeah, well.
Welcome to Canada.
At least we didn't get all that freezing rain like they did in Barrie and Peterborough.
I was talking to my buddy in Orangeville, and they had lost power for almost a full day.
What'd they say? There's like 400,000 people without power in Ontario right now. So
he's got 2 young kids at home, so it's been a stressful time for him the last little while.
So get your hand crank laptop up and tune in.
Exactly. No excuses.
Well.
So due to the fact that Halser's heading down to Strathroy for Game 6 of the Alvinston Strathroy series, we thought we'd start off with the Irish for a change here. So,
well, and it's worth starting on there.
Oh yeah,
they're on their way to the final.
Congratulations to the Stratford Fighting Irish to
Good
returning
job
to the championship of the OSHL. And Holly, what a ball it was to watch that game on online, and to have you and Trey do such a great job. I sent you a text during the game, and I know you're busy, but you guys do such a great job, and we're going to get into it, but I will believe to say that Magwood did something of a rarity toward you, and that is leave you speechless.
That doesn't happen very often.
There are many
folks
who didn't think it possible.
And all the time I've known you, it's never happened. So.
I can't remember the last time somebody left me that speechless. And I've been, thinking about it for the last couple of days, to be honest with you. Zach Magwood, number 19 for the Stratford Fighting Irish, for the uninformed. To say he scored 3 goals in Game 5 in the clinching game would still be a gross understatement. He scored a goal, and I hope it gets up on socials. I think it will.
It's actually on the OSHL site right now.
It's on the Ontario Super Hockey League website.
Yeah, we got to get that up. That is like gold, that goal.
And I guess the best way to describe it is to say that he came in on a one-on-one on the left side and drew his defender left. And I'm not going to bother naming the defender because he really got schooled there.
Yes.
But keep in mind that this guy is on their number one pairing, probably their second best defenseman behind. I guess I just named him, didn't I? Anyways, he come up on the guy and he pushed the puck to the right and then skated around to his left. And the defenseman just froze for a second. He didn't know whether to fight or wind his watch, frankly, and he paused.
Well, it's like your golf instructor used to say to you, Brian, don't do anything stupid.
And so he paused that one moment, and he decides he's going after the body. Well, by that time, Magwood's gone, and he did almost a complete 360 around the defenseman, and then went and picked up the puck that he had just kind of threw an in-turn draw over to the right there, like he was, I'll be there in a minute.
Right.
And he just passed it to himself around a defenseman.
Yep.
Cuts into the middle, fights off the second defenseman, and beats a sprawling Polidori.
Yep.
And my partner, Trey Hamilton, goes nuclear.
Sure.
He really
Rightfully
did.
so.
Like he barely put this much energy into Thiessen's overtime goal in game 2. And that was a great call.
Sure.
He channeled his inner Rick Jenneret there. And so this dude scores this goal, maybe the prettiest goal. I'm trying to think of one, maybe the prettiest goal I've seen in that rink, and I'm trying to find one in my mind that's better.
That was a pretty nice goal.
And my reaction after 4 years on the mic, and a lifetime of studying an English language, my reaction is, wow. That's all I had, man.
Well,
that's
in
it.
your
I just got rendered like
in your defense,
childlike,
Holly,
infantile.
I watched that thing probably about 20 times, and it just doesn't get old. The extended pass up to Magwood, and he went in one-on-one, and you explained the play. To have that know-how and understanding about what you're capable of as a player, where you're at, the fact that it wasn't like it was high in the slot. It was right in the slot. The goalie, he got caught watching too.
Yeah.
Like it was just what a magnificent play. And I thank God every day Magwood plays for Stratford.
It was a great play. I think it was Casey that broke up the play in Stratford's end.
Broke up a rush.
And backhanded it up to Magwood,
Which
who
was probably about an 80-foot pass. You're right.
Was way up at Tilbury's blue line in front of Stratford's bench.
Yep.
Then that's when he came in one-on-one on the defenseman. Yep. But rather than try and beat him one-on-one, he turned his body so he's like gliding sideways. Then that's when he got the bright idea. You know what? I'm going to put it right-hand shot on my off wing. I'm going to put it around him on my stick side, go around him on my backhand side, and pick the puck up again. Like it was unbelievable.
He passed it to himself around the defenseman, and I don't think I've ever seen that before.
And then cut across Polidori, and like you said, he had Tilbury guys draped all over him trying to get it off him, and he slid it in, and it was crazy. Like I wasn't at the game that night, and I got to give a shout out. I was in Toronto at my oldest daughter Lindsay's future father-in-law. He was having a euchre tournament. Mark Astle, shout out to those guys, because I told them I was going to give them a plug because I had my Armchair Chirpers hoodie on and hat, and they're like, "What's this podcast?" And I said, "I'm going to give the euchre tourney a quick little shout out." But the Astle euchre tourney, Harry won $70, Matt Astle won $50, and Matt's grandmother, Susan, won $30. So there's the shout out. It was a great night, but I had to miss the game. And you guys are blowing up my phone going, Razor, like this goal was off the charts. And then me watching it on 519 was just unbelievable. So,
and ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call a squirrel.
Shiny thing.
Well, I had to give him a shout out.
It's all good, and I know we were talking about that before, but I didn't realize that you were going to pick that spot. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I was going to say it at the beginning, but then Halser
congratulations
got
to all the winners of the poker tournament Razor was at in Toronto.
We usually don't go off the rails this early.
Euchre. Yes.
But
what were we talking about? Oh, right.
The Magwood's goal. So that was they opened up. Palillo opened up the scoring 2:30 into the game, and then in the second period, Magwood does that goal of the year, makes it 2-0, And then Brulot gets the game winner. So they're up 3-0 on Tilbury. Like, no one was expecting that to happen.
And from the second straight home game, they're looking like they're going to run Tilbury out of the rink. And keep in mind, 12 skaters. For the second round in a row, they get to a series clinching game, and they have 12 skaters. Only this time, they had Magwood,
Right.
who almost counts as 2, because when you only have 12 skaters, Magwood ends up playing like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And that's a problem.
And Holly, for the ones that are wondering, and I think it's a complete valid question, with the sheer talent of Magwood, what's his rating on the number system for the league?
He's a 3.
He is a 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he played in the AHL for the Milwaukee Admirals.
Yes. Okay.
And I think he played for a second team as well. He wasn't up there real long. He didn't get drafted. He was playing, he's from Cambridge for the record. He played with the Winterhawks, I think, as a 14 or 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And then 3 years in the O with
Barry.
Barry.
With Barry, yeah.
And
He was
then
one of those 15-year-old one and done playoff
go players. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
just here for the playoffs
on his
and
way
then I'm
up.
out.
Yep. We call that the Harmer rule.
No, Harvard
Anyways.
played a full year though. Magwood only played playoffs for games.
Oh, that's true. Fair enough. Anyways, same
The Joey
direction.
Hish
Hopefully,
rule.
Harmer follows
Yeah.
and gets drafted. That was the thing. He didn't get drafted, maybe because he was a little small. I think he's like 5'8" or 5'9".
Yeah, he's not too tall.
He's stocky now at 28 or 29 years old,
Yeah.
but he's probably only 160 pounds in those days.
Right.
It's tough to
Holly, so with the fact that they clinched their way to the championship on Saturday night, 12 players, I didn't really see, and correct me if I'm wrong, I really didn't see a whole lot of pizzazz or magic with Tilbury. With the games that I saw and the ones that I did not, I saw them online. Did you and you can just be completely honest, I could be way off, but I didn't really see any deep threat of Tilbury being able to skate with Stratford. Would that be accurate?
That is accurate. They could not skate with Stratford. And as quick as their forwards are, they have some guys, like Winkworth, their second-line center iceman, is probably and has been known in previous years to be the fastest guy in the league.
Yeah.
And he could stay with.
Banga was pretty good.
Banga's quick.
Yeah.
McComb was okay. King, the left winger on that top line, he was a really good player. But the thing was, and I think I alluded to it last week, that what's happened, or what did happen now that the series is over, is that they shadowed Denemy, the league MVP. Both King and Durham on the other side, both very dangerous players, different players. Durham's a little guy with big speed. King's a big power forward. Both great hands, both great shots. But they require feeding. Like that's the difference with a Magwood Pekka. Pekka doesn't require feeding. He can create his own stuff. Whereas Durham specifically has to be given the puck in flight to go, and he's got dangles out the wazoo. This kid, he could really shoot it, but he's just a guy who finishes. He's not really a creator, and so they put a guy on Denemy, whether it was Matt Montgomery or it was Ray Robbins, who's a beauty. We all love Ray.
Yeah.
And these guys were just following him around, and Denemy is, for all his talent, is not the greatest skater. He's a big dude. He's like
He is a big
260,
guy.
something like that.
Like
He's a
you
big
said,
dude.
Full
man.
disclosure, when Razor pointed him out to me at the game that I was at, because I hadn't seen Tilbury, and he gave all the information to me about his MVP and so forth, I noticed that right away. And I'm not saying it, as a detriment or whatever, but he must be a little bit more magical or opportunistic, because man, I didn't see it.
Right, and like I
didn't see it.
said,
And
mostly because
that's my
when Ray
fault,
Robbins is on you,
Yeah.
or Matt Montgomery are on you, they both skate much better than he does, especially Robbins. And if he's way faster than you, you can take off this way or cut or whatever, and he's going to be right on you. So that forced them to change their strategy to make the other 4 beat Stratford's 4. And when you have the best defensive core in the league, and the 2 guys on the ice are a Justin Murray and a Matt Henderson, then yeah, man, bring it on. Your lesser guys are not going to beat our best defensemen.
100%.
As well as Thiessen now, too.
Oh yeah,
Right?
exactly. When
Oh,
that's-
by the way.
Oh, by the way.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's they only had Connor Hall in Tilbury.
Right.
But when they got all their horses together, every
Oh.
one of their defensemen are played in the OHL.
Yeah.
And nobody can compete with that. When you add to the fact that the speed that Stratford was playing at, that put Denemy in a real bind there because he just couldn't get the puck enough. When it was on the power play, I thought he was really deadly. He was scary. He didn't produce a lot, but I also thought in Game 5, Tilbury didn't have a lot of puck luck. They had opportunities to score. I can't remember the number 9 defenseman came down on the left side, rebound came right to him, takes a shot, flubs it, and missed the net by 4 feet. It probably bounced right in front of him or something. So on top of getting outplayed, they had no puck luck either.
For those who didn't see the game, did you want to give a little recap on like a game from like Brulot, or was he there?
Yeah, he was there. I mean, it's easy to follow the guys because, there were only 8 forwards.
Yeah.
But, Magwood obviously stole the show. But Palillo, seeing him score again is fantastic because he went through a little kind of mini slump. He was getting lots of scoring chances earlier in the series and wasn't burying them. And he got a greasy tip in Game 3 and then scored 2 in Game 4, I think, and then got another one in Game 5. I'm sure Razor will correct me if I got that wrong, but Brulot has been playing his best hockey in my mind.
Yeah, he had the game winner.
Like I remember him all the way back to Culleton days, and he was a really good junior B player. But I've never seen him at this level, and I assume it's a kind of a combination. As good as Ray Robbins is and the kind of magic that those two guys had, they were the best line, give or take, in the league 2 years ago. And that's how much the league has changed in 2 years.
Brulot's always had that sneaky shot, though, when he's on the move.
He always reminds
the
me.
little drag.
Yeah. And snap. It just.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does like
He
the
had that
toe
when he
drag,
was a
but
Colton.
he likes old school as well, where he can just get wide and then bounce him in. Guy Lafleur, that scored probably half his goals like that, where he would screen down the right side and just get a little bit, whether it was a wrist shot or a snap shot, paying off the far post. And so he really reminds me of Guy Lafleur.
Yeah.
And just a little recap on Weirzy from Saturday night.
Really solid, and that's 2 games in a row where he was challenged to play against a hot goalie and answered the call. He was the difference in the second period in Game 4.
Because they were pressing on Saturday night at the one point.
Absolutely, they were. Yeah. There was about 5 minutes there where other than that, Stratford was pretty much in control for 2 periods. Then in the third, they gave up that goal. They came out hard. Stratford laid back a little bit too much and ate a whole bunch of pressure, and he had to make a couple of, on top of the lack of puck luck, was also 3 or 4 really, really, as Les would call them, 10-bell saves.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Magwood's last goal was a shorty, 2 men short.
Yeah.
Like, what happened on that goal?
Okay, well, the scary thing is that the shorty was almost as good as the one we've been fawning about. I've been waiting for somebody to put that one online too. As is common in this league, when there's a turnover on the power play, the far side forward vacates hard, and they try that flip pass. And they hit him right on the tape, but the puck bounced off his stick, and he was gone on a break. He was gone. But like I said, it bounced over his stick. So it goes over into the opposition end, right on the hash marks on the boards, and he picks it up, and he turns around and goes back toward his own net, like he's going to rag the puck, because it's short, right? And then somebody was coming at him, and then all of a sudden he took those 2 chop strides, and that's, giddy up, he's off. Except he turns due west at the blue line, and then goes around the defenseman, walks in alone on the goalie, and gives him that same house you go and he gave him in Game 2. And backhand roof daddy, and he just deked out the entire team after pick. I mean, that was
ridiculous.
And that made it 5-1. That was game over. Like, it was 4-1 with Tilbury on the power play, and then Magwood just showed up, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, and then Jake Durham, he ends up getting a goal with 2:22 left in the game, and that made it 5-2. But yeah, Polidori played okay, but it sounds like Weir stole the show from him, and
he didn't have
steady.
Magwood shooting on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really, when you take away Magwood's night, it's a 2-2 tie.
Yeah,
right. Friend of the show, Ian Shank, Shanker. How you doing, bud? Thanks for tuning in.
Peace, Shanker.
Having a healthy Kelvin Thompson is a big boost. He hit Denemy on Saturday and literally stunned him with as big as a guy as Denemy
behind the net there, yeah.
And Shanker just added one more thing. Stratford wants a 7-game series between Strathroy and Elwoodstone. Hopefully the Jets can win.
Lots of overtime.
I don't think I could agree more with Shanker. We want the Jets, and even though they have the best goalie in the league, I think our chances strongly improve. And I know that you and Razor were talking of a different outcome. But what are your thoughts? Who do you guys want to see in the championship against the Irish?
Definitely Alvinston. Like, we've been pumping Feezy and McEwen, who's hurt, has to be hurt because he's not doing a whole lot in that series. It's Lamoureux, who had the big game for them in Game 5.
Yeah.
And, like, I would like to see Alvinston just because they travel well. Like, they'll have 2 bus loads. And Alvinston's got a hostile environment. Like, if you ever feel brave, go down to Alvinston and
Wearing your Irish gear.
and bring
Right.
some-
Wear green.
Yes, it's like going into
yeah.
Philly,
Yeah.
right? Wearing a Leaf jersey at the Spectrum. So
What do you think, Les?
I'd like to I'd like to see Strathroy. I think Strathroy, it's an entertaining game. Every game we saw the Irish play Strathroy this year was entertaining. And that Strathroy goalie, he could stand on his head.
yeah,
To Brouwer.
Like, a couple of those saves he made down right in front of us this year were just big 10-bell saves, like huge. And
Well,
I'm not a big Alvinston fan. That's the thing.
well, they're nutty.
Well, and
like
and Razor, and you were saying this before, and I think it's very valid to bring up. Like, you were talking about the producers of Alvinston's run this year, and it's not the usual suspects that we're familiar
No.
with. So, did you want to just go through that a little
well,
bit?
just like I was looking at the stats, and like I said, like Lamoureux, him, Feezy, and like Freifogel. Those are the guys that are carrying them right now.
Well,
like
Freifogel's probably their best defenseman.
yeah, and like and
What a skater he is. Oh,
and I know you were saying that Robbie Schremp's not their best player. Jamie McQueen is, but Schremp's been in on a lot of these goals too, right?
I just want to be clear about what I said. Schremp is amazing.
Yeah.
McQueen is amazing. But Buck's the alpha dog. He's the one that scored 4 goals in Game 3.
And for those who don't know,
Yeah.
Robbie Schremp had a career in the NHL, and at the age of 38, playing
Right.
in this
Yep.
league.
Yeah,
So
and-
he's effective.
And then
it was
you had
it was Schremp who set up the overtime goal in Game 4 when they were on the power play. Like, put it over 2 sticks, dropped it right on Buck's stick, tap in easy. Sorry.
So
go ahead.
tell me about Cam Amos, because he got his first 3 goals there in Game 5. Like, where did this guy come from?
Well, that was my question. Where did that come from? Because Alvinston came out like a team that was pissed off that they lost the night before. They're up 2-0, out shooting them, and it was big. Like, I think they had 20 shots or something ridiculous in the first period. And then all of a sudden, as is the case in so many periods in this series, Strathroy scores 2 goals in 30 seconds late in the period.
Right.
And this is not a guy. I mean, he's a good player. He scores for them, but he's not one of their. You know what I mean? He's not the guy you're worried about.
The go-to guy.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, that they have that big line, and they play him a lot, as well they should. You know. But when a guy like Amos is scoring, I mean, it was Mandarelli scored the overtime winner in Game 1. When they're getting depth of scoring, that makes them downright scary, because you have the best goalie in the league, because you have probably the best line in the league in McQueen, Schremp, and Buck. McNeil on the point, and Amos scoring now, and having De Brouwer behind everything. And don't forget, for those who would rather see Strathroy, the game in Strathroy, Stratford lost that game 5-4 in overtime, in which De Brouwer had 74 shots on him.
Jeez.
And they won 5-4.
Well,
So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, 100%.
and it doesn't look like just statistically that De Brouwer or Fulcher from Alvinston had great games. Like,
Yeah,
both of
6-5
them,
game,
yeah, both of them had sub 900 save percentages. But I thought, just like looking at the stats and the box score, the turning point was in the third. You had Alvinston up by 2 goals, and then they got a 2-man advantage, and Strathroy killed off the 2-man power play. And like for over a minute, they were down 2 guys. And then what happens? Like you said, the final 2 minutes of the game, you had Dalton Jay score his second and third goals of the playoffs to tie it up. And then Brandon Buck from McNeil scored it 3 minutes into overtime. Like, it was
And
just...
that was Buck doing that same play I just talked about with Magwood, where there's a turnover in the defensive zone. He vacates the zone hard, and McNeil hit him with about 120 pass, and he was gone. And that's the last guy you want to see is Buck.
Yeah.
Like, the dude played like 7 games in the league this year, scored about 15 goals. 2 assists. Like he's pretty.
Yeah.
He's as one-dimensional as they come, but he can fly and he's deadly, absolutely
Well,
deadly.
and that's what was shown. Right?
That's what they need
Yeah.
out of him.
And if
right?
you go on the 519 videos on Facebook, you'll be able to see Elvinston's goalie, Caden Fulcher, gets into a bit of a dust-up behind the net. And you pointed out, how the hell did he stay in the game? Because he went at the Strathroy players and was nailing them with his blocker.
3 shots to the head with the blocker on and doesn't get kicked out,
Right.
man.
But
That's-
did you see who the referee was? So
well, that's
headshots were free.
both that.
I
I
leave it at
trained
that.
under a guy named Jim Cressman out of
Yeah.
London, and he said, "You know how you did a good job as an official when both teams hate you."
Yeah.
And that was the case after that game. Both teams hated him after that game.
Well, I think business-
Strathroy not so much because they won. Sorry, Joe.
No, it's okay. Sorry, my apologies. I think the Irish, it's in their best interest to play Elvinston with the concession sales that's going to happen from the 200 people that come from Elvinston who are already smack hammered
Oh,
by
yeah.
4 in the
To
afternoon.
be clear, they aren't coming from a church social. That
No.
They're partiers, man. I love those guys. They really livened up the rink. Remember last year, Game 6?
Oh, yeah.
We had a
1,300
blast.
people.
We had a
Yes.
blast, and you
It
know
was-
what? They
Yeah.
weren't hostile. They were
They were rowdy.
they
Yeah,
were
they were
rowdy, but they
rowdy.
weren't hostile.
They
were
got into it
What'd you
after
say?
the game. I guess
Yeah,
they
it got ugly
yeah,
underneath,
it got
but
ugly.
that
I don't
was
know what all happened,
No.
but some guy got punched out.
Oh, that's
outside
right,
the
too.
bathroom
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so they are.
They
So-
can be.
They can be.
They can.
Well, they
be.
will be. They
but who
probably-
knows?
They drink Bush, like Bush
Right?
Light, Bush, like it's
Bush
strike three.
lattes, right?
No strangers to an empty can.
And they were building the pyramids. Right?
Yeah, there was a huge one down in the
Yes.
corner there.
Yeah.
It was almost the height of the glass. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a lot of.
Yeah.
That was a.
So that's why, like, ultimately,
A couple
like,
guys have the
I
dribble
will
stains
say
on their
that-
jeans and stuff like that from the bathroom.
Yeah, you know that. You know that dribble. Oh man,
The old silver dollar.
The last call dribble.
oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Just like to see the underdog win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason, I shouldn't say the only reason, just because we've pumped Elvinston's tires for so long, there would be nothing sweeter than to see them beat out. Elvinston has never won the
I
championship.
was just going to ask. I don't think they had.
No.
No, they lost Game
No.
7 last year. It was the
Tell
first
somebody.
year they were relevant, frankly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, Strathroy hasn't won it either. But
Strathroy.
But Elvinston is expected, with all the money that they've thrown at their players, they're expected to win. And
For the amount of money goes into that
That's a
production,
high
you're
expectation.
absolutely right. That is
Right.
championship or bust.
Right. And so that's why I would like to see it. And just, I love watching Feezy and McEwen if he's healthy.
I love watching McEwen play.
Yeah,
for sure.
Lamoureux is playing well, but
Lamoureux and Chandler are former St. Mary's Lincolns.
all right, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw them play junior hockey. They were awesome together, too.
Oh,
But how much of Feecey are you going to get, though? With Chatham
I
still
think,
in
well,
it, right?
and that's
Well,
the
that's the
thing.
question, right? I mean,
yeah.
that was the case Saturday night as the part of the reason why Stratford only had 12 skaters. There was 2 guys hurt. You know, we're still waiting to see if Colin Martin's going to be okay after getting a stick in the eye in Game 3.
Oh, geez.
His vision's okay, so I'm told, but whether he comes back and plays this year, I have no idea.
I
He's had a
can't
rough
confirm
year.
or deny, but I heard that it's not ideal for his return. But
Yeah, and I'm doubting
said.
that too, but
Yeah.
They said that I was
Marty's
reading
in routine.
reports that a guy who works at Long John Silver's was going to give him a patch, and he should be good to go for Game 1.
Aye,
so
mate.
I,
I mate you.
yeah,
it's Colin Martin.
Arr, matey.
at the corner of Ontario and Romeo. Yeah,
That old wooden boat.
Oh, the old long dong silvers, I tell you.
yeah.
He's sitting
No,
out
that's
rowing the boat.
that's an adult movie, Halser.
You'd know better than I would. Right. So,
There you
anyhow,
Adult movie. Blu-ray.
so yeah, going to Game 6 tonight. We'll see if they finish it up, and then 7 tomorrow night if they don't. And
Yeah.
then what we do know is that Sunday at 3:30 will be Stratford's first home game. It will be Game 2. Regardless who wins that series is going to get Game 1 at home on Saturday, and then the Game 2 will be 3:30 Sunday afternoon.
Nice.
Amazing. And like I say, just revisiting it for one more opportunity here is congratulations to Stratford Fighting Irish for achieving the opportunity to win the OSHL League Championship.
Yeah.
It's been a grind. It's been a different year than we're familiar with, and lots of ups and downs. And for them to still be here, and the team that they have, Holly and Razor and Les, like, I don't know. I so appreciate the Warriors and the league that they're in and how they're doing, and looking forward to that. We'll get into it. But, man, this OSHL hockey, again, the product on the ice is absolutely incredible. It's 10 out of 10 every time.
Yeah.
As a league, they have stuff to work on.
Yeah.
And as individual clubs within a league, they have stuff to work on. They're not running at an efficiency that is
sustainable,
is concurrent to the talent on the ice, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At that level, you expect a higher level from the clubs and from the league. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot better over the summer and into next year as well.
Fair enough.
Well, let's go right into the go.
Yes, Guy.
Why don't we get into the results of our predictions from round one?
Well, we get through round one. The East playoffs weren't as exciting as the East playoffs were more exciting than the West playoffs. The West playoffs were 4 or 5 games. There's
couple of sweeps.
3 combined wins from 4 series losers.
Yeah.
And
which,
then
frankly, I shouldn't surprise anybody, I don't think.
Yeah, and then in the East,
Except
you
for
had,
London.
you only had the 4-1 St. Catharines series win. Everything else went 5-6 games and 7 games for Cinderella, right? And
Yeah.
But
Brantford, so.
congratulations, Les. I remember watching the episode from Dominican Republic when everybody on the table and everybody who called in thought you were losing your mind.
Clarky and I had talked about Brantford, and just I had said to him, I said, they've had something over air all year long. All year long. It was just every time they played them, they were close games or they were beating them. And Brantford, what a great season for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens next, really, for that team, but you'd like to see them continue on.
Yeah, you and Halser went 7 for 8. Les, you had Listowel wrong, but then you had Brantford right. And you picked a perfect series with the Lincolns. You had them winning 4-1. They did. And you had Caledonia winning 4-2 over Port Colborne. And that was right. And then Halser, you had picked Ayr, and they're gone. But you picked London over Listowel. And you were the only one to do that. And then you had the Lynx to win 4-1 and Chatham to win 4-1 perfectly. And then Dylan Baker, our 519 sports friend, he had Listowel and Ayr wrong, but he picked St. Catharines correctly over Hamilton 4-1, and he had Fort Erie over Cambridge 4-2. Myself, I was the same as Dylan. I had Listowel and Ayr wrong, but I picked St. Catharines right. And then Clarkey, he refused to pick a winner from the St. Mary's KW series for obvious reasons. He hoped Chatham and Elmira would go 6 or 7 games. It didn't quite go that long. And then he said Listowel London was going to be a coin toss, and he had Ayr wrong in the East. So, yeah, pretty.
I think that absolutely stands clear of the beauty of playoffs.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That literally anything can happen. If there's one episode that I wanted to be here for, it was the one that you're talking about with the predictions. And, I didn't know enough about the East, but just watching you guys comment about the different series and all that great stuff. Here we are.
Yeah,
Round
we're
two.
off to
Here we
round
are.
2. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's been
starting in 3 more
It's been
days.
a while for us Western Conference teams.
Oh, I tell you.
Just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to get underway Wednesday night.
Yeah. So it's going to start Wednesday in Chatham. Is there
You're
any
off
other
to Chatham?
games?
Off to Chatham, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Then there's a pre-sale Thursday from 5 to 7 down at the main arena. I was talking to Jeff Shaw today. Get in and get your tickets.
it's gonna be
He was
a
saying
big
Jeff was out the
series.
door till he rescued him from standing
Oh,
out the
me?
door. Yeah.
So really quick story, and I never, I always plan to pay and everything, but we got down to the final game, and sure enough, it's out the door, and that was for the previous series. And Jeff knocks on the door, and he's like giving me the wave over and lets me in, and I wholeheartedly I donate complimentary haircuts for every home game. And he goes, sponsors, we appreciate you guys, and let me in. And I was like, wow. just a really nice tip of the cap to the Stratford Warriors, the directors, Jeff Shaw especially. So thank you for that. I think that was a deserved shout out. So anyway, sorry, Les.
Yeah, and they've fixed the head-to-head now on the Go
Have they?
site.
Yeah, it was on Elmira.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody, and he said, "Oh, I'll get somebody to look at it." I said, "Well, it's wrong." Yeah, they had Mel Myra in there, but so they got the head-to-head now, and Stratford and Chatham, we match up well.
Because I think you were saying that it was Stratford was 2-2 against Chatham during the regular season.
Yeah, Stratford was 2-2. Chatham was 2-1-1.
2-1-1, and one of them was an overtime.
Stratford won the one overtime game.
Gotcha.
So really coming into this series, Chatham comes in the best power play from the regular season.
Yep.
And the best power play from the playoffs. They went almost 50% that first series.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember or not, but didn't Stratford open the season with Chatham?
Yes.
And Chatham.
Well, no,
Stratford won, I believe.
we didn't open the season with Chatham.
Sorry, home opener.
Yeah, no, our home opener was Elmira.
Okay.
Down for that.
So
but we went.
what
What happened was we
Chatham.
went to Chatham 2 Sundays in a row.
So I remember seeing Chatham here on a Friday night.
Yeah, yeah, that was the 27th, so late in
Okay.
September. Yeah.
All right. And I didn't really think they were anything to worry about.
Yeah, they.
And the progress that this team has made over the course of the season allows me to perceive that it's going to be a series, and Stratford's if they're wanting to get out of this, they're going to have their hands full.
Well, they are. Chatham 246 goals for the year. That's 4.9 goals per game. That's wild. They had some big games against Elmira. A couple 9-3 and 9-5 game. But
what's Elmira's goaltending like? Is it exactly as it sounds, or
it's shoddy at times?
Okay.
Strauss is a
the only
decent
reason why I
goalie, but a
ask
little
is
shorter.
9 goals in the playoffs, duplicate times, is a concern for the offense, right?
Yeah. And Elmira, they had their power play and their penalty kill is not very good. Stratford's going to come in with the second best penalty kill in the league from the regular season.
What really impresses
Second
me
Second best.
about
Second
Chatham
best.
is they've got, in their top 5 scorers, 3 of them are rookies.
Yeah.
You've got Brody Gillis and Dylan Richter as their top 2 guns with 11 and 10 points. But then you've got 3 rookies, Ian LaChance, Liam Campbell, and Carter Chadwick. And they've all got 9, 8, and 7 points. These guys aren't, just barely, putting tap-ins. They're involved. The 3 rookies are the leading power play goal scorers on the team, with 3 each. And then you've got Richter with 2 power play goals. But everything seems to go through Brody Gillis. He's got 5 assists on the power play.
Stratford's going to have to stay out of the box. And Stratford doesn't take a lot of penalties. So
Right, which
that
is the good thing.
Benefits Stratford. And Liam Campbell played for Saginaw on the weekend. He was in the game and he played. So if he's back or not, we don't know, right?
And you were saying that was the same with DeBlasi.
DeBlasi is the backup goaltender.
Yeah, they're down 2-0
Saginaw,
now, I think.
they're down 2-0 though. But Okay's not coming back for Saginaw this year, so DeBlasi's gonna probably have to be up there. So, but Gannon Hunter's been playing. He played all the games
Not great.
against Elmira.
Okay,
Yeah.
not great.
But the problem with that is Elmira and Chatham got into I'm going to run your goalie, we're going to run your goalie. And it got kind of ugly in the last
did.
couple games.
Yep.
And Stratford's just got to stay out of that stuff.
Yeah.
Stay out of
Yeah,
the scrum, stay out of
discipline.
everything. Just play discipline hockey like they did all year.
yeah.
Because everybody says, oh, Chatham, they had 246 goals. Yeah, but they only had 2-1 games against Stratford, 2 of them. A 3-1 game for Stratford and then a 3-2 Chatham win. Right?
And would it be fair to say that Elmira and Stratford, and I'm just asking for several reasons, but Elmira and Stratford's game, are they completely different? Or okay, so that means a lot.
Stratford's scoring is spread over
It's
two
just
lines.
it's distributed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
distributed. Elmira's went through their defensemen and the 2 forwards.
Okay, so we got a little chirp here from a super fan, Rhett Chessel.
We haven't even got to the Lincoln series yet.
But Rhett's calling Chatham in 6.
Uh-oh.
And he did say his St. Mary's, but I'll wait till we get to that. And Stratford will have a hard time in Chatham. It's a zoo there. Get your advance tickets, Holly.
It's all good. I'm in this series. I'm going to take Stratford in 6 games.
You're going to take Stratford.
I'm gonna take
in
Stratford in
six.
6
We
games.
got to write this down here.
Okay.
Stratford in 6.
We'll go around the panel. Holly?
Well, this series definitely comes down to special teams. It's not just the vaunted Chatham power play. I mean, if Stratford plays like they normally play, they tied with St. Mary's for the least amount of power play goals allowed in the season. Now, that was 75 less chances. But still, 24 power play goals against is 24 power play goals against. And so the big key for me for this series is Stratford's power play, which was very good against LaSalle.
Yeah.
And Chatham's penalty kill is not great, but they do like to score shorties. So what's going to be the result there? Can the Stratford power play keep up with the Chatham power play, assuming they limit their chances? This one is, to me, it's a coin flip. It's such a contrast of teams that are just going to come at you with a team that'll just let you. So it's like the ocean versus the beach, really, this series. That's the way it's going to be. And so the question is, the guy down at the one end with the mask on is McDougall, and I hate to put all that pressure on a guy, but it's playoffs, and he's a 20-year-old goalie,
right?
And he's the kind of guy who loves that kind of pressure. If he outplays the guy at the other end, I think Stratford in 7.
Stratford in 7.
I'm going to go with my heart instead of my head.
Burrs?
Well, there's lots of different fundamentals that come through my mind, and I don't get to a lot of games, so I listen to a lot of what these guys say, and I know Les has seen basically every game this season for this young team, so I have to take into account of his observation and what he thinks. And I also know a hockey mind like Brian Hawley that we need you to get out of this building, so I won't swell your head too much. We got to get you out of the door.
I'll turn sideways. You just carry on.
But I appreciate the observations from everyone. Even Razor, we've
Even
talked a lot
Razor.
over.
Even me.
Well, you would say.
Yeah.
Did you see the game?
Razor.
No, usually I don't, but today I'm giving him kudos. I know what you mean.
All right. So, with that being said, I'm just so excited for the opportunities that lie ahead for teams like the Lincolns and the Warriors. One thing I will say is those original jerseys that they've reintroduced to the Stratford organization look beautiful.
Amazing.
Like incredible. They just look so great. I will say Stratford in 6. And I take a little bit of everything from the panel here who are, relatively educated on the team. So I'm going by that. And I think Stratford's playing really good hockey right now. And as I mentioned on Wednesday, I really like the way the D-core is playing. I like the way they're playing smart. I like the way the rookies are stepping up on forward, the Slatteries, the Kipfers, the veterans like Haggies, Schmidt, Lou, all those guys. So combined effort, let her rip, boys.
Okay. Well, I've looked at all the stats, and I've seen Chatham over in St. Mary's, and I just think you're basically boiling down offense versus defense. I would take defense all day long. Like, it's not good. Stratford isn't going to wow you with tic-tac-toe plays. They don't need to. They need to use Chatham's defense as screens and shoot more. I found myself saying that during the LaSalle series, but they were just too overpowering for LaSalle, and they were able to get away with it. But they can't wait for the perfect shot on Chatham. They've got to like Nagy and Lange, and these guys got great shots. Kipfer and Slattery are your 2 top scorers, and they're rookies with 5 points. So, hopefully we've had time to get some bumps and bruises healed up. I'm taking Stratford in 7. I just think that their Doogie is the better goalie. I think he's got an axe to grind. He's going out. This is his last hurrah. And like I've told him, make the saves that you're supposed to and a couple that you have no business. And I think these guys can do it. So it's going to be tough. But I think they're going to frustrate the offensive firepower of Chatham. And once they get off their game and start taking penalties, Stratford stays disciplined. I'm going to take Stratford in 7.
Yeah. You got to remember, there is no recent playoff history between these two teams. You got to go back to 1999, the last time these two teams played in a Southern Cup final.
Is Reuter allowed in the Chatham Arena?
Chatham beat Stratford in 99. But if you want to go back to 1990 when Reuter scored the biggest goal in franchise history,
Yep.
It was
the semifinal.
In a semifinal game against the Micmacs at the time.
Right.
The Coltons versus the Micmacs at the time.
Wiseman.
There's just
Brian Wiseman.
What a time to be alive, eh?
those playoff.
I'll never
And
forget.
was it
playoffs.
Fountain? No,
Was it
who was
net?
the goalie that was
Fountain
in
was
net?
in net.
Was it
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
Fountain?
Mike
Yeah, I ended
Okay,
up playing
yeah,
with the Rangers and
Yeah. Went on
Canucks.
to
I
have a
think
career.
who it
Was he
was.
Canuck?
Yeah.
Might have been the Canucks, yeah.
That,
but-
after that shot that hit Fountain.
just fact check me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Les.
After that shot that hit Fountain and took forever to get it in the net.
Yeah.
But, that's the history we have, and that's the history we're going to be. And these players can draw on it. I was able to talk to Heidi and Rob Lewis this morning before work. I was putting out the garbage, and they were walking the dog, and Cole says they're all ready to go. Everybody's jacked.
Sweet.
So he's feeling better. It sounds like everything else is tip-top shape, and I bet you Willie... It sounds like yesterday's practice was pretty high tempo, and tonight's is probably going to be high tempo too.
I have no
Yeah.
doubt. I have no doubt.
The coaches will have them well prepared, and honestly, saying Stratford in 6, I love that selection, but it's also, we get to the next series, and there's a little bit of something I want to see happen this year. But we'll go to the same area. I don't want to say it right now.
Yeah,
but
I completely understand what
everybody
you're
at
saying.
this
Les.
table knows what we're saying.
The
knows what we're
biggest,
talking about.
biggest
Yeah.
thing is
We've been saying it all year.
Yeah.
you've got to get there.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
Gotta
know
get
that
them
you
there.
know that.
There's
I
no
know
sense
that you know
looking
that.
too far ahead.
One game at
So-
a time. This is a time of year, and I think, and I can't speak for them, but I think of the wonderful coaches in this league, and the head coach there in St. Mary's, and Willie and Schlitt and all those guys, Knuckles and Westman and all the guys. At this time of year, when you get into it, you're literally breaking down shift by shift. And you would know that with your successes in this league. And I know it's changed, but some things remain the same.
Yeah.
Right. And when you talk to those players that you're talking about, Razor, and you ran into Schmidt at Revel there,
Yep.
and just saying about the little comments about you're playing with the house money. They may be a little bit too young to fully understand, but I guarantee you at some point that light's going to go on. It could be 5 years from now, and they're going to go, that's what he was talking about.
Well, it's refreshing. Like if you look at the statistics on paper, Chatham should walk through Stratford. But that's
Really?
why they say they play the game.
I don't
like you
see
look
that,
at
but-
you look at the firepower, and you look at like they've got a lot of veterans. I've talked to a few people that have said that just looking at it on paper, that Chatham should win and it should be a Chatham St. Mary's. Well, you know what? That's why you play the game, because Stratford's got the best goalie right now in the league. And not taking anything away from Armelin or Booth House Go, but
he's got the best
statistically,
numbers anyways.
statistically, Doogie's got the best numbers right now. He's been solid all year long. And you look at all the rookies, and I mean that respectfully, where the people that I've talked to that have watched a lot of hockey have said Chatham should beat them. Well, that's not always the way that it goes. Like just ask Ayr how they made out, right? Like against a 7th place team. So yes, there's a lot of hockey. Yes, there's a lot of things that have to go Stratford's way, but if they can play tight defensively and frustrate Chatham, they've got a chance.
Yeah.
And
They have a heavy series coming up, and they know that. And I know that, like Holly always says too, it's like it's a young team, but if you can put it together, it's going to be able to give you an opportunity. It doesn't guarantee a win. And what do we know about playoffs? It doesn't get easier. It gets tougher.
Well,
Yep.
right.
And the next series for St. Mary's is a tribute to that, because
Yeah.
this will be the 13th time these two teams have met
Yeah.
since 1979.
yeah,
St. Mary's with a 7-5 lead in series. But I'm
And
going
the
to call
last
this.
two.
Yeah, I'm going to call this the Slobber Knocker series.
Let's
of
move
this
into
series.
the Lincoln
Yeah,
series.
the
Okay.
Lincoln
Yeah.
series, and this is a repeat of the Western Conference Final last year, and it went 7 games in overtime.
No.
For not overtime, seventh
No,
game.
no, seventh game wasn't overtime.
Okay, but it went 7 games,
Yeah.
and St. Mary's was able to pull it off. I like St. Mary's chances in this, but it's going to be a long series, and I think it's going to go 7 again. I think as Wexstrom plays, I think that's how far London goes, the goalie for London. So
Yeah, the Finnish goalie.
yeah, I'm gonna take St. Mary's in 7 in this one.
St. Mary's in 7.
Holly.
All right.
The numbers don't bear out a long series. I'll give you a few. I'm not generally a numbers guy, but here's a few for you. London's power play, 18th in the league. Their penalty kill, 13th. St. Mary's power play, number 3 in the league. Penalty killing, number 1 by a mile. Like I said, they and Stratford gave up the same amount of shorthanded. Stratford was second in the league in percentage and power and penalty kills, and tied with St. Mary's with power play goals allowed with 24. St. Mary's gave up those 24 in 74 more chances. So in other words, they played 9 full games shorthanded, and the other team only scored 6 more goals than they did. And London is notoriously a weak power play. They don't kill penalties very well, and they're 4th in the league in giving up power play opportunities. So a team that doesn't kill penalties very well and takes a lot of penalties against the number 3 team in the league in power plays, that alone should make you think. Here's one more number to throw at you. The St. Mary's Lincolns have not lost in regulation since December 13th. That's 28 straight
That's
games.
crazy.
The only team to beat them in that stretch was Waterloo. Once in regular season in a shootout and once in double overtime in game 4. The last team to beat them was Stratford, December 13th. That is almost 3.5 months.
Can I just say something really quick? For those listening on your favorite listening platforms, not one sheet of information is in front of Brian Holly right now. That's all in your head. Like, well done.
He studied on the tow motor.
Oh
today.
my gosh.
I drive a forklift.
no, like-
I have plenty of time for
Exactly.
But I just like full kudos. Like he's rhyming on. I'm
Well,
going,
it's
is
funny
it
you mentioned
here?
that. I
Is
was
it
watching
there?
last
And
week's
I'm going,
episode, and I'm
oh,
going, Rangers got paper all over the place. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I should
No,
bring
but,
some like just to look
and-
like one of the
and not
news
to
guys.
Well, that's what
Diverge, but-
autism will do to you. You remember numbers, and it just. Like,
I am on the
it's-
spectrum. I'm a Flyers fan, therefore I love the spectrum.
But sorry to
No,
interrupt.
it's-
But incredible facts. And sorry, keep going.
And based on the fact that they never lost in regulation to London in 5 games. They had to play them 5 times because they played each other in that showcase series.
Yep.
So in 5 games, St. Mary's won 4 and lost 1 in overtime. I remember that because the goal was scored right in front of me when London won the game in St. Mary's. St. Mary's in 5, and the one that London wins will be in St. Mary's.
All right. So.
St.
Bruce,
Mary's
what-
in 5.
5. He said confidently.
Wow. With conviction.
So it's up to you, Burrs. What? Who are you taking?
You know, and I sent a text out to our Chirper chat earlier, I guess last week or later last week. And I'm just going to be honest. I said, is it unethical to think that London has an opportunity to take this series? And the reason why I ask is because I'm uneducated. I'm not exactly sure, you know, what to think, because London, I don't know, it looks like they have a really good team. And, you know, you look at what I was looking at was the different social media channels for both teams. And obviously there's bias included, but I've came down to simplicity, and that is obviously listening to the people who, you know, are on here with us. But mostly I kind of look at the whole picture, and the big picture. I take the blinders off and try my best to give an analysis. So this is what I came up with. Originally, I was going to say London in 7, but my pick is St. Mary's in 6.
St. Mary's in 6. All right. And I'm looking at everything, and once again, you go up and down St. Mary's players, and you should be handing them the Sutherland Cup right now. Like they are from what I've seen, they are the deepest team that I've seen all year long. Now I haven't seen any teams in the East. St. Catharines looks pretty good. I've heard Halser talk about Fort Erie, but you've got Lincoln Moore, Ryan Cornfield. They're leading it, but they didn't really light it up, and they don't need. I'm not saying that they got to put up like Chatham-like numbers with 10 and 11 points in a series, but just they've got 3 good lines that can score, and they've got good D. They've got 2 of the best goalies. Like I think the goaltending kind of evens out because you've got Boothhausko, Armelin, and Wexstrom from London, all within like minuscule percentage points. They're all at 944 or 940 save percentage. Like it's very even that way. I think where the tail goes to St. Mary's is because of their depth, and I think that Lincoln Moore is going to be the game changer in this series. I think he was just warming up. He had 5 points in 5 games, but I think he's going to be the guy that makes the difference in this series. I'm going to take St. Mary's in 7.
Jason Clark just chimed in, Razor. He says, you spend every Monday afternoon at the photocopier at the library, don't you?
I don't have enough money to make photocopies.
So Rhett Chessel decided to direct a question to me, Les, who has the best playoff atmosphere? And they go, well, Rhett, in St. Mary's in that small bar with 1,200 people, you got a great playoff atmosphere. Come down to the Almond when it's packed, when you have 2,500 people in the stands, sitting on the stairs, and then we'll talk.
It is pretty loud in there, though.
It's crazy in there when it's
truly packed.
Sure.
When that arena is truly packed, it is the best playoff atmosphere I've ever been in.
For sure.
And I've been in a lot of playoff atmospheres. And that is
just being there last year for the Irish 1,300.
Yeah.
That was. I mean,
was great.
We were calling that game, and we were literally yelling over top of the noise.
2 years ago, the Leamington.
Yep.
Series when. There was more than 2,500 people and people sitting on the stairs, and that was so loud. We were yelling at each other, trying to talk back there, where we always stand. But Rhett, I would say St. Mary's right now has the best atmosphere with the 1,200 in the small rink, but get 2,500 in the Almond.
But if St. Mary's goes to Stratford next round,
can I give Rhett Chessel's
about the atmosphere?
Prediction.
Yep.
Let's get Rhett.
Because full disclosure, we were really wanting to have Red on tonight with Chess and our mic systems. We've had a few failing opportunities here, so we do apologize, and we'll get Red on. He's really important to us here at the Armchair Chirpers. He has St. Mary's in 5 or 6.
He's got to pick one. He's got to pick one.
Got to cover.
Man up, Chessel. Let's go.
Rhett, you've got to give us one or the other. Also, Chris Chessel, Fountain played for Vancouver, Carolina, and Ottawa.
Thanks, fact checker.
Gary Broadhagen, thank you as always for checking in with us, pal. Really appreciate you listening. Almost forgot the funniest part of Megwood scoring 3 highlight goals was that some of the crowd was booing him lightheartedly when he hit either the post or crossbar late in the game to get no pizza.
He cost us pizza. And you should have seen the look. That's a great story because the look on his face, he just looked like the dude has absolutely put the team on his back, and yet he still got booed because he didn't get us free pizza.
And,
tough crowd, Max. Tough crowd.
Director of Hockey Operations, Clarky, friend of the show. Just chimed in here. Razor spends every Monday afternoon at the library photocopier.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, right?
Rhett says 5.
5?
Does he say 5?
Okay, that's better.
And then he says he disagrees with my analogy, but Rhett, I don't think you've ever been at the Almond with 2,500 people in it.
Yeah.
It's true. You got to show up and check that
That
out.
year, it was
pretty incredible.
that you were talking about?
2 years ago,
And I'll say this, if I may. It was like the 80s.
Yeah.
Les and I were standing there. Probably you were too, Holly. I
wasn't.
can't remember
No, I
for
wasn't.
sure. It was me and you,
wasn't
and
there for you, so.
you just felt like it was a retro 80s. The buzz. There was people sitting on the steps, and
It was four deep behind us.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm like, "Do you want a beer?" And he's like, "Well, I think I can save your spot." Like, it was so tight. We're gonna try to bring those days back. And Holly, you got to get going there.
Yeah. So let's get to the Eastern.
Okay, we'll go into the East, and so Les,
I'm going to take St. Catharines. I'm going to
Brantford.
give Cinderella's going to lose their slipper in Game 5. I hate to say it, but St. Catharines going to take that 4-1.
Okay.
I'm going to agree wholeheartedly. They beat them every game. They didn't score a power play goal against St. Catharines all season. So this is not Ayr. This is St. Catharines. This isn't a team that beats themselves like Ayr does. 5 games.
I'm not going to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I don't have any predictions for the East. I just simply don't know enough about them. So I'll let you guys have your fun. I'm just being honest.
All right,
I have no idea.
I get it. You don't even want to throw one out. You don't even want to throw.
Oh no!
Throw out a Hail Mary.
No, what are we? St. Catharines and who?
St. Catharines and Brantford.
Oh,
so
we'll
Brantford.
keep the Cinderella story going.
Yeah. Okay.
Brantford in 6.
Brantford in
nice.
6.
Nice.
All right.
$100.
$100.
Got to be paying 7 or 8 to 1. You would think.
until somebody knocks St. Catharines off their perch, I think that they're the team to beat. Other than my Caledonia team, that I thought that just looking at all the players that they had picked up at the trade deadline and all the depth that they had, I think that you're going to have St. Catharines in 6 games. So I'm taking them.
All right. And the next series, Fort Erie versus Caledonia. I'm going to stick with Caledonia, and if they play the Caledonia hockey, they will win this in 7 games.
These teams don't like each other. Fort Erie beat them in 7 games last year to win the Niagara Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Golden Horseshoe.
Yes, that's the one. And Caledonia came first. Fort Erie came second. Fort Erie beat them in 7 games. It was an unbelievable series. This is a true coin flip. It really is. You look at them, they were even during the regular season. Both teams can kill penalties. Both teams can score shorthanded goals. Both teams. Caledonia's fortunes changed when they changed goalies after Game 2. I forget the guy's name, but
Josh Branton.
Anyway, they brought him in and they won 3 of the next 4 games.
Yeah, he took over from Keegan Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson was not having good numbers, so I don't think you go back to him. I think you got to stick with the hot goalie. I think they probably will, which might. I get a Caledonia in 7.
Nice.
Caledonia in 7.
What Holly said for me.
Same thing.
I trust him.
Ditto.
I just do.
Ditto.
I just trust him. He's
Well,
seen some things.
Rhett's just bitter because they don't allow air horns in the almond.
Well, there's reasons why.
Yeah.
Like
The old
I'm
Christmas tournaments, right?
I'm looking at the stats for both Fort Erie and Caledonia, and they have similar type scoring. They have a lot of veterans on both teams. The top goal scorer for Fort Erie's Dylan Coors, and he's got 7 points. And then the top scorer for Caledonia's Ethan Osborne. He's got 6 points. I think where the goaltending, like you said, Halser, could come into play. John Lloyd's played well. He's got 924 for Fort Erie. And I agree. I would be shocked if they didn't stick with Josh Branton, who's now won 3 games with them with the 956. So I'm going to take Caledonia in 7 to keep that train going.
Yeah. Well, it hurts to say that because Lloyd's coming off of back-to-back shutouts. Like Cambridge, he went 145 minutes in that series without giving up a goal, John Lloyd.
Wow.
And I've seen that team play several times. They are really good. So Caledonia's going to have to play really well to beat them.
Yeah. Caledonia has been on fire since the trade deadline.
Pretty much, yeah.
I just don't see them. Yeah, and that's the go right now. And
It's going to be a great week.
It's going to be a great week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait to get back to the arena.
Looking
Even on the
forward
bus
to that.
ride Wednesday, I'm ready for that.
ready
Just
to
getting
go.
back there, and then Friday night back at home.
Then there were 4.
And then after that, they'll announce the rest. And if you watch enough hockey, you can pretty much figure out
Pretty
where
much, yeah.
how the series is going to go. You just have to figure out when the game nights are, and you'll
Yeah.
get it. You'll get it. It should be released soon. But remember, advance ticket sales Thursday night, 5 to 7 at the box office. Get your tickets because I think this barn is fill the willy. It's going to be full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good crowd. You're going to start to see the lineups head up to Ontario Street again, so that's always a great thing to see. And
Ollie, we got to get you off.
Yeah, I got to get on the road.
he's heading to Strathroy
Yep.
tonight, folks.
Report
Game
back
6.
for Game 6 and see how that goes. And,
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a late season Jets-Dolphins game where you don't care who wins, you just hope there's injuries. I'm kidding. That's bad karma. Sorry.
I had a bit of
All right.
nostalgia today. I went out and the wife said, "Can you pick up some laundry detergent?" I picked up the Tide thing and I shook it, waiting
Yeah.
for the ball bearings in the bottom
Right.
of it.
Boy,
right.
reaching.
Fair enough.
Ollie,
All
right.
right.
All right,
Have a
thanks,
safe
Brian.
All right, Halser,
And,
drive safely.
Yeah, and we'll get to the sponsors after the break.
All
So we'll
right.
cut to commercial.
Always gets my shit confused. What's a man have to prove? Do I have to walk the night for you? Every mountain I've climbed, there's a valley low. For every highway I ride, there's a rocky road. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul. Drunk and young, I asked him, walking home, but an aloof response had me on my own without you. I stumble on all alone with DMVs. Where are you gone? I'm repeat in my dome, so blue. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul.
One, we just saw Brian Hawley off to Strathroy, see Game 6 of the OSHL semifinal, in which Stratford is awaiting the winner of Elwinston and Strathroy. So we'll look for the updates. We're just going to get into our generous sponsors at SBS Metals, metal fabrication with professional craftsmanship, Stratford's preferred custom commercial and residential metal fabricator. They invite you to look at their social media channels to see examples of their work. And thank you, Kathy and Dennis, for your generosity. And yeah, all good. We'll also get into Joe's Diner, the official breakfast and lunch dinner diner of the Armchair Chirpers, home of the world-famous Perth County breakfast. Locally owned by the Myers family, locations in St. Mary's and Stratford.
Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Armchair Chirpers. 2 locations, 406 Ontario Street, 536 Huron Street. Domino's Pizza.
Excellent, excellent people. Janet Lange, broker from Home and Company office in Stratford, serving Stratford and surrounding area, over 20 years of experience. She coined the phrase, putting the real in real estate, the official realtor of the Armchair Chirpers.
Brighter Vision Counseling, Psychology, and Wellness, providing compassionate and effective counseling services to individuals and families in need. They provide a safe and supportive environment where everyone can heal and grow. Brighter Vision Counseling, Psychology, and Wellness.
And my shameless plug at the Urban Barber, 155 Erie Street, established in 2019, full-service barber shop. We are booked by appointment only. We do remind you that we have switched our online application to Squire instead of Fresha. So please keep that in mind. If you do have any questions, please reach out to us at 519-275-4334. We look forward to your visit soon.
And Bentley's Bar, Inn, and Restaurant, the official bar and restaurant of the Armchair Chirpers. 20 draft beers on tap, daily food specials, a fabulous place to spend the night in their lofts or executive suite. Locally owned and operated by the Bentley family.
We just wanted to give our condolences to the Bentley family and the Bentley culture. They just this past week lost a fiber of the pub. Roger Martin passed away. And if you know Roger, you knew he was always in for a conversation about the Leafs or the Jays or basketball or
Always had his Leaf gear on.
Always.
yeah. And heartfelt condolences to his family and friends, and definitely a pillar that will never be forgotten with the Bentley establishment on 99 Ontario Street.
Rest in peace, brother.
All right, now we're getting down to it in the NHL. About 10 games left for most teams.
Right?
Wow. I'm OCD and I check playoff prediction site every morning just to see the stats. And Montreal is now up to 38.6% chance of making it, and Rangers is behind 32.8%. So it's a good shot there. I keep looking at it going, Toronto wins this Atlantic. We get Ottawa. I know it's not a great matchup, but it's the nostalgia of what could be that matchup.
Well, I was saying to Burrs there before we went on air, just watching the highlights of Hudson passing it across the seam to Suzuki against Florida. Like, my God, you guys got a stud there.
You know what, though? They just had a 5-game slide, which was horrible. And for some reason, we're still in it.
Yeah.
We'll take it. I think the biggest thing, because people, and unless you'll ask too about, just the thoughts of Montreal this year. And this is all progression. And I think that's the biggest victory this year for the Montreal Canadiens. Would I like them to see the playoffs? Absolutely. It gives them
Gives them that experience.
100%.
Right?
So, we got this young stud at 20 years old, Hudson. He, in my opinion, biasly, he deserves a Calder. But, you've got other great opportunities in the with the players in the league too. But I really like the way – well, can we talk about the other elephant in the room? Florida limping
Oh my God.
into the playoffs.
Yes.
Toronto,
Right?
They still have Montreal Tuesday night. Like that game,
Yeah.
the way that game, or Ottawa, or is it Montreal?
Montreal.
The way that game ended the other night,
With the
Florida,
slap shot?
With the slap
Oh,
shot.
yeah.
Tuesday
Boy.
night's game is probably a must-watch game.
Wi-Fi will be in the building.
Would Nico
And then they play
Mikkola.
Toronto. Yeah, then they
Yeah.
play Toronto the next. Toronto still got 2 games against Florida.
Yeah.
So, there's your.
So can I say
chance to
something
take it
about
there.
the Leafs? And I think there was 18 games left. Obviously, this was about a week and a half ago, and I'm listening to the information that I was hearing. And with 18 games to go, you had 3 back-to-backs. You had a Western swing. And you had Florida, Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, but
Not
that's
ideal.
That's absolutely nonsense.
Yeah.
You're running the gauntlet.
Holy juice.
Yeah.
We go out west playing teams that are not in the playoff picture, and I'm figuring, we're going to go out there and we're just going to get shellacked all over the place because Toronto plays to the ability of their opponent
Yeah.
for some reason. But, they got into that OT game with San Jose, and that was just a weird one. And then the LA game, that was just a wild hockey game. I watched a bit of that. I'm going to say this. I said John Tavares, 34 goals now or 32?
I think he's got 34.
I think he's got 34. Like, man, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
If
at
it's
this age.
possible to say less, and Razor, he might be playing the best hockey of his career.
I think he is.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey.
and I'm not talking about the 48 goal career and his,
With the
first dance.
Islanders.
With Toronto.
Oh,
his
okay,
first
yeah.
year. But how do you gauge this guy?
I don't know, because he's playing the best hockey at a time where it means the most
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and he was hurt there for part of the year,
Well,
and
he-
now he's
Little bit,
like,
yeah.
I think it was like hurt feelings. It
Well-
wasn't so much.
but he's. I think now that he doesn't have the C on his jersey, he can just focus on playing. He's playing for a contract, so it's no surprise that he's having a great season, but. It's just all going to boil down to, is he willing to take a discount to stay in Toronto?
Yeah.
And if he wants the
Well-
money, then he's not.
It's not going to be a harsh discount from what it sounds like, and I don't know.
I heard
I don't know what
$7
to do.
million, and
Yeah.
I think that might be fair.
a
Ideally,
short $7 million cotton.
I like
Yeah.
2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and I think what would happen is, and I could be wrong, but ideally for Tavares with his commitment to Toronto would be 2-3 years at 6 or 7 million, and the day he retires, he goes up and is a consultant or did what Spezza did.
Yeah.
But because I think the 2-3 years takes him to the end of the Matthews contract,
Is it?
correct? And I think that's what it is. And
Yeah.
Toronto just scares me sometimes. But
So,
it's just
Here's
terrible.
a question for both you Leaf fans: is you're going down the barrel of the season here. There's 10 games left. You guys are playing good hockey. It's not about the loss in San Jose. Like, this time of year, you have to understand that a loss in San Jose in overtime isn't defining anything.
You get your point, right?
So what I
Yeah.
will say is, you guys are creeping up a couple points on taking the Atlantic, which is great. You have to play good hockey to have that standings list. How do you feel about your team?
The way they're playing right now, I like it. I just think they've played well as a unit. Scott Lawton, he's turned things around the last 3 games.
Yeah.
He's been playing very well. Bobby McMahon, this guy
Huge.
is just
Bobby McMahon.
scoring,
Huge.
just scoring goals.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever he has to do. And Marner's been Mitch Marner. That goal he scored last night on the breakaway, I think, in the Anaheim game, that was another pretty goal.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the NHL right now is this goaltender interference crap that's going on. Nobody knows what's a good goal. Nobody knows what's a bad goal. And the league said, oh, yeah, well, we sent out, we showed
Yeah.
everybody what's a good goal. But then it's totally opposite. Like, even the TV guys are going, we don't know we can't make a decision.
When they go to the replay or whatever, we'll let you know. We have no idea.
And they're just taking so long right now
Yeah.
to make the decision.
Yeah.
Like the one guy was funny. He goes, another 2.5 minute decision on.
Like, Razor, how do you feel about your Leafs?
You know what? They're leading the Atlantic by 3 points right now. They have played one more game than Tampa Bay and Florida. I did not see them. Like, they ended up. I would have been glad if they got 4 points on their West Coast swing. They got 5 out of 6. Like, that's more than I could have ever have hoped for. But I like it. Unfortunately, it sounds boring, but it's going to boil down to goaltending.
So, and with what you've seen, and you too, Les, who gets the net?
Stollers.
I would throw Stolarz in, even though, like, Wall was the guy. Like, he's the guy who's going to be getting a bigger contract next year. He signed a cap-friendly contract I think he's making, like, $900 or something this year. I don't even think he's making $1 million.
He's relatively a rookie. I mean, this is his first NHL full season, except last year, I believe.
And so they said to him, we'll give you more money, but we need this season to be at a favorable price, which was great. And so then they went out and got Stolarz, who's never been a number one, but he's been able to watch guys.
I can't believe, you had 2 guys at the start of the season with 30 games or less, and Stolarz has completely blown me away. And Wall's played well. He stumbled a bit, but I think, like, is Stolarz your guy, Les?
Yeah.
to start the playoffs?
Yeah, Joseph Wall, he's 3.67 next year.
How much?
Still under
Three.
contract.
So that's
3.67.
still
He
respectable.
goes from 7.67 this year up to 3.67.
Yeah, as he
Yeah.
should.
As
I
he
mean,
should.
he's
he
earned
gets
it.
that raise.
yeah.
And like Stoller's is signed through next year too.
So here's a couple scenarios, and I as long as we want to go here with Leaf preview or whatever. So you've got a heavy Ottawa team, and as we know, Toronto is more finesse and speed and all that. So you either have Ottawa or would it be the Rangers? It's pretty much Ottawa.
It's pretty much Ottawa right
Okay.
now. Ottawa's
How, like, Rachel, I'll start
Yeah.
with you. How do you feel like? And I know there's 10 games left, and I know that there's a lot that can happen. But you in Ottawa, first round, you got Stollers and net. What are your thoughts?
I think he's your guy. I think he's handled the Toronto pressure well. I think that him being, even though he didn't play, I think him watching Bobrovsky last year in Florida, just the experience and watching his game preparation, I just think that Stollerts is the guy. And if for some reason he falters, I feel very comfortable with Woll, watching what he did last year.
Is it fair to say that middle of the year they were prepared to go back and forth?
Yeah.
And now they're.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of anchoring on.
I think
Stollers.
you're right. I think you're right.
I think it's accurate.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Ottawa series is what Allmark do we get?
Yeah.
If you get the healthy on top of his game, Linus Allmark, it's going to be I think it'll be a great series. But I don't know. Ottawa sometimes
Okay.
they need a chance. They need to get in, need to turn the corner and make the change. So
We know the woes of
Yeah.
your team.
yep.
Do your big boys show up?
That's $1 million question, right? How bad is Matthews back? Which Mitch Marner are we going to get? Is Nye's going to carry this into the playoffs? Like, is Domi, like, what a goal he scored there last night in Anaheim, that backhand. Like, if
If the defense stays healthy,
Tanev and like, if
OEL
all those
and-
guys, like, lock it down, block all those shots so that Stollerts and Woll don't have to make any 10 bell saves.
And who's the unsung hero? Like the guy that we're not ready for that's just going to step up. Is it Bobby McMahon that steps up, or
love
is it
him.
Robertson?
Do you know who I see out there that completely gets my attention? Lorenz.
Yep. Oh,
He's
that tip shot, man.
he is consistently out there and doing things that I'm like, okay. So we think about different things. And I guess what I will say to you guys is, we've talked about over the years with the playoff production and so on and so forth. Do you guys feel like you have a run in your team?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really do. And I know we say that every year, but I just think if Matthews can, like, he's not 100, but if he can just stay healthy enough to contribute and score some big goals when necessary, he doesn't have to put the team on his back. But if you can get some, timely goals from him and Tavares and, the big guns, and like we haven't even talked about Lawton, like if he starts feeling more comfortable, right, and we get some production out of him on the third line, like I think,
Is the production though with Lawton? Is it points or is it shift to shift? Because I don't think that it was remotely warranted, the amount of heat he took when he came to Toronto. And I know the heat that he took was they were sitting camp because they are $195,000 under the cap.
right.
Is Pacioretty coming back?
Well, and that's the thing. Pacioretty, it sounds like he's getting close, and he'll be ready to come back. What about Willie Nylander? Does he just keep doing what he does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
What's he at now? 41?
41.
goals?
41.
Like
he's got a.
he's
Oh,
had
he's had
a
a
He'll
great
be hard.
season.
He'll be hard pressed to
Great
hit the
year.
50, but
So
You never know.
And simple conversation. Matthews, he'll maybe hit 30, 69 last year. Is it role? Is it coaching? Is it injury? Is it
I think it's been an injury-plagued season for him.
Yeah. So here's a question for you guys. With that being said, and there's no wrong answer. Should he not be under the knife and get it done?
Yeah, I think that he wants to win as bad as anybody, right? And in case Tavares leaves and, you know, things happen, they were pushing their chips all in this year. And then when his back flared up there in camp, and then he took some time off, went to Germany on his own, got this voodoo mix where who knows what they put into his back over in Germany. It's not something that is highly advertised, but there's a lot of pro athletes, I guess, that have done that.
Oh, they have.
So,
but to go from 70 goals to 30, and I'm not trying to be abrasive here.
I get you.
What I'm saying is there's something wrong. And the biggest thing that I would say to you is if you're signing a player in the NHL for $14 million, $13 million, you're paying him because of the fact that he has a capability of scoring 70 goals.
Absolutely.
It's not because he's a 200-foot player.
No.
That his game has improved, and I get that. Like, there's something majorly malfunctioning with Matthews, and I take no pride in saying that. I know you guys might think that. I don't. I don't think I've seen a player this. The contrast isn't even fair.
Well, it's like I had mentioned on one of the other podcasts where the only thing I can relatively equate it to is with Yzerman when Scotty Bowman came in and said, Steve, we don't need you to put up 160 points to keep up with Gretzky and all of these guys. We need you to be sound defensively and chip in some timely offense. And
I don't think in that defense, I don't think Yzerman was making $13 million a year. You know,
obviously
and
not.
I know what you're saying.
He was one of the higher paid guys back in that era.
But I know what you're saying. Like, I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts, Les?
I just think it's been an off year. He's been hurt. And, you know, we'll find out after the season.
I guess we'll find out.
What's up, right? And that's all you can say about
Does
that.
Marner sign in Toronto?
I think he does.
I think he does.
Does Tavares?
I think he does because he doesn't want to leave.
That it's a lot. It's different for a guy like Marner to just pick him and his wife up and move wherever.
Yeah.
Tavares has kids and they have school and
Now,
his family's there.
If Toronto goes in and says we're only giving you $3 million, he's leaving.
Yeah, of course. I don't think they'll take that
But I don't
approach.
think they'll do that. But
Here's another one for you. One, and I said it in September, and I'm not going to say I told you so, but I had big hopes for Matt Nyes. And that kid.
Yep.
Did you see the game last night?
Yep.
Razor?
I did not.
The highlight.
I just saw the highlight.
He is exactly who I thought he was going to be. And that is a big power forward. What is he, 6'3", 220-ish?
220.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were asking on the radio waves, you know, is he going to be a point-of-game player? That type of player, you don't need him to have 80 points. You need him to have 50 or 60.
Exactly.
And crash and bang like he has been.
Yeah.
That kid is an absolute stud.
He is.
An absolute stud.
No, and when it makes it so much easier when he takes heat off of Matthews and Tavares and Nylander, and like I guarantee that when coaches are going over who we got to focus on, they know the obvious ones, but Nyes' name comes up guaranteed in the pregame. Like, you know, this is what he likes to do. Watch out.
It's on
for
the
him.
whiteboard
100%.
in the opposing team's
100
room.
Okay.
So what
10 to go.
what about
OV with 5.
yeah, that's what I was gonna lead into.
Oh, okay.
And so
Does he get the 5?
I hope
and wait, I want to know, how does the media handle it? because it's not like baseball where they can just cut in every time he comes.
I'm not
up to
saying
bat.
this to you. I'm saying for the question. I don't care.
I
I don't.
and that is
That's-
more
yeah.
the norm.
Yeah.
Like in I'm a huge Gretzky fan, and I think back 21 years ago. Okay, here's the trivia. Who was the goalie that Gretzky scored on to break Gordy's record? Do you remember that? It was at the Forum.
Hang on.
Was it?
Can you say a team?
It was Edmonton, was it?
No,
not?
it was Vancouver.
Luongo.
McLean.
Kirk McLean.
Kurt McLean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This record,
I remember him like jumping on his feet when he did that.
Yeah.
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 I just didn't know that.
At the Great Western Forum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
But
record to
Goldie
me
Hawn
is,
and Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the stars were there.
yeah. All I can say is this record to me. All it says is records were meant to be broken, and it's gonna get broken. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch them break it.
I'm
I see
not
it on
worried about,
highlights.
and you may or may not be going down this road, Razor, but I'm not worried about the political. I'm not worried about anything. I just think that anything is possible if you put your mind
Yep.
to it, because his career has been absolutely average.
Yeah. I
One
just,
Stanley Cup. You know, I look at a guy like Sid Crosby, who came into the league 1 year after. And, you know, I'm going to say it. He's a selfish player that has cost jobs
Yep.
yeah.
of GMs, coaches, and couldn't figure out a way to get it done himself. And I welcome anyone to message in, and I'll have a conversation with him. It's not impactful because he's unimportant, if that makes sense.
I respect his ability to score because, let's face it, goalies are better. Their equipment is
The
bigger.
game's better, everything.
100%. So I truly believe that it is harder to score now in the NHL than it was 21 years ago. Now, that being said, there is nobody else. All these other guys, Lemieux, Brad Hull, Yzerman, all these guys, Joe Sakic, all played in the era that Gretzky did, and they didn't come anywhere near. So it's all relative. You can't just say, oh, well, it was so much easier. The goalies weren't as good.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that. And that's why I respect that Ovechkin is going to break the record. I hope he does not do it this year, just with all the political stuff. And you brought up a good point. I know you don't care about the political, but the reality of it is when you've got a Russian player playing in North America who actively has Vladimir Putin on his social media,
but-
like, and I get it, okay, but you've got that going on, and then you've got Gretzky saddling up to Donald Trump and like people throwing feces at Gretzky's statue, which I never ever thought in my lifetime I would ever hear about that out in Edmonton. Like
There's idiots everywhere.
there is,
Well said.
but there are a lot of people.
Do you know what, though? In Razor, I understand that. I completely understand, because that's where society's at.
Yeah.
And we were on a chat room the other night, me, you, Founts, Chess, Holly, all those guys, and you were saying that same type of statement. And all I said was, I still love Gretzky, and it's okay that we don't agree.
Yeah.
And people don't want to let that go these days. And I'm not telling you how to think, or I honestly don't care. What I do say to myself is, it's not even about the fact that Ovechkin gets behind Putin or Gretzky gets behind Trump. It's that Ovechkin has been not a signature player in this league, and people are going to be upset if they like him. I don't see him as an impactful player. One Stanley Cup in 20 years?
And just imagine, though, that if this was Sidney Crosby about to break Gretzky's record, it would be a totally different narrative. I think there would still be the negative connotation with Gretzky's friendship with Trump, but people would be paying more attention. Like
Yeah.
honestly, you have to go looking for any articles to to support it. Like, and they're having to drum it up. People aren't actively going, what's he at right now? Like, it's not like McGuire and Sosa, right? Where people were genuinely going, what did he do today? And I was reading an article, And it was really interesting because they were saying they were trying to predict who the goalie could be that Ovechkin is going to get the goal with the 895th goal. And I guess they were looking at the Rangers. I guess they play the Rangers late in the year, and they were asking Shesterkin, and he was like, I really couldn't care. And they said that, like, and that's why I asked you guys. It's really hard to remember that it was Kirk McLean was the goalie, right? No one really remembers the victim of it. And like the pitcher was Mike Bassick that served up Barry Bonds' 756 home run to pass Anchor. No one would know that statistic, right? The only pitcher that got any print was pitcher Eric Show, from the San Diego Padres, that gave up Pete Rose's 4,192nd hit in Cincinnati. And the reason why he got print, and I didn't know this before until I read the article, was while they were doing all the celebrations that they do after Gretzky scored, after Bonds hit the home run, after Pete Rose hit that hit, they're doing all the ceremonial stuff. And I guess Show sat on the mound, like, it was going on 5, 10, 15 minutes. So he sat on the mound. And when he got into the San Diego room, I guess he was a young guy, whether he was a rookie, but he was early in the league. Some of the old boys really took offense to him sitting on the mound while he was waiting for them to give Pete Rose's stuff. There was almost fisticuffs between the veterans and this guy. And I'm like laughing, going, I can't even believe that. Like, I would have never have heard of Eric Show's name if they wouldn't have wrote that article saying that there was almost fisticuffs. So, long story short, whether he gets it this year, I hope he doesn't, because I hope next year there's maybe a little bit more. I feel bad for Gretz that he's going to have to be out on the ice. It's just bad optics. I think next year it'll be a lot better. It'll give the league something to build
the fog
on.
will clear over.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
All I can say is if they make a documentary, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it.
No.
They Barry Bonds documentary, I've never watched it.
No. No, I didn't.
Honestly, the long gone summer, the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire 30 for 30. I've watched that.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not a
riveting.
big Barry Bonds fan, and
I respect that he had to put the bat on the ball to hit it out of the park. Barry, we all know that you juiced. Roger Clemens, we all know that you juiced. If they would have just come clean, they may be in the Hall of Fame. Like you look at it took a couple of tries before Rodriguez, came clean. But they're not dumb.
Yeah,
they're not. The fans are very forgiving. Just come clean. But I just think that we've got such a great game, and it's unfortunate that politics, because like we had talked about, here you've got the Four Nations. It would have been great to have the Russians in there, but for political reasons, they're not invited there or to the Olympics. I hope he doesn't hit it. I hope that it goes into next year and they can start the season and, the fog, like you said, has cleared and they're able to somewhat embrace it.
Do you mind if we skew away from hockey for a minute?
Sure.
As there's a big controversy right now in Major League Baseball with the torpedo bat.
Yeah.
The
Of
torpedo bat.
My
New York
Yankees,
Yankees.
right?
Okay, my thing is a torpedo bat's not going to fix a 2-cent swing. So I don't
have
know
a
why,
problem with it.
I don't know why there's a
No.
controversy, because obviously somebody figured out if you have more meat where you hit the ball, analytics tells you the guy hits the ball
Well,
there.
the fact that MLB has no jurisdiction on what that looks like, and the fact that they've been using them, have at her.
Well,
I just
and they
think
said-
the Yankees come out and just smashing the heck out of the ball.
Well, that too, like Judge refuses to use it. He's like, hey, I'm comfortable with what I've used.
because
Look at
it
me,
doesn't-
I can drop a ball with the best of them.
Yeah, and he said it. He said it. He goes, "It's not for me because of where I hit the ball. It's not going to help me.
Yeah.
A torpedo bat doesn't
I
help me.
need to
And
catch
why
it.
change something before
But there's a thickness, I guess, a
Have
circumference.
you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
it's-
incredible.
It really, Chaz Jism is using it.
Is that porno?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's because of all the home runs they hit this weekend, is what they
Yeah.
were saying. But
They had
Like flying out of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a Toronto player that's using it, or has one. Who was it? They
Well,
were
they,
saying-
I think it was
Nelson
Schneider.
Mariano.
Schneider, yes.
Yeah,
Big
Schneider's
Dave Schneider,
ordered one.
Little baby Schneider, he has one.
Oh, he has one.
He has-
There's a bunch
little
of
baby
guys.
Schneider.
There's a bunch of players that have ordered them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the Yankees
Get
hired
a
a guy
free
from
t-shirt with
MIT
it or
and
whatever.
yeah, free.
Yeah.
Like the guy on the
You
radio
know?
says, MIT, why didn't Boston hear about this first? Oh, speaking about Boston, Rafael Devers,
Yeah.
0 for 16 and 12 strikeouts.
E-
Yikes.
Yikes. Whoops.
Yeah. Seems
I
like
know it's early, but
I know it's only 3 games
man,
in, but
oh man, like it's
a
nice
lot
to
of
see.
money.
Well, it's nice to see Mookie Betts back playing
Yep.
too. Like he had a virus before they went over
He
to
lost
Japan.
20 pounds.
Yeah, 25.
that he couldn't afford
Crazy.
to lose.
Right.
Like he's
Yeah,
not,
not a
big
huge guy. Yeah. And so now he's back playing. He hit a home run there yesterday or the day before.
day before walk
Good to see.
Yeah.
Good to
Walk-off.
see.
Yeah.
It's just great baseball's back.
Yeah.
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 I
I,
just
love it.
there's so many storylines that happen in baseball. Like everybody game 1 Toronto. Oh my gosh, here we go again. Well,
Yeah.
they split the series.
Yeah.
But it's funny
4
though, like
games
that.
in.
Well, they were up though, and then
Yeah.
they brought in Love Lady
Yeah.
or whatever his name is, and oh my God, you could just see the wheels coming off.
I think
the cart.
Jeff's text was the best when Scherzer went out. Yeah, we knew this was gonna happen because everybody saw it coming.
100%.
You know,
Yeah.
you all saw it coming, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the biggest thing is they got rid of that Yarbrough
Yeah.
Burrow
Yes.
Yeah.
kid and kept these other guys, and well, now they need. I just
It'll
There's
all
so
come
much
out in the wash.
it will. There's
Yeah.
164 game or 62 games or
Yeah.
whatever to figure it out.
156
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
But I think we got our boys.
I think
I
so.
think we do.
Yeah.
Great episode. Remember, or advanced ticket sales Thursday 5 to 7 at the arena. Game 1 Wednesday night in Chatham. We'll be on the air at StraffordWarriors.hockey about 6:55. It's a 7:00 game time.
7 o'clock puck
drop. Yep.
Nice.
So we'll be on the air for that one, and then Friday night back at the Willie, folks. Fill the Willie.
And
Yeah.
Les, will say to you, and I'll speak on behalf of Razor, have a great time calling this series. Eh?
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Like,
wild.
It's, you're going to have a lot of fun and great hockey, and these kids just give her. And we're so proud of our hometown Warriors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go get them, boys.
Yeah. Go
right?
get them, boys.
Go
Good luck
get
to
'em.
the boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to celebrating with them beating Chatham, and can't wait
Yeah,
till
they'll get them.
Yeah.
They'll get them. They
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah. Let's play hockey right into May.
absolutely
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. It's okay not to be okay. Just start the conversation, folks.
Thank you always to our viewers, listeners on all of our platforms for all your support. We encourage you to tune into our socials on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we try to post all sorts of fun stuff and enjoy.
All right.
Great.
Good night.
Cheers.
Ciao.